everybody, today is going to be a little bit of a different video today. I thought I would give you guys a little bit of an update about what's been going on with me returning back to work, as well as give you guys a little bit more information about what happened with my surgery, what's happening now, my experiences, and all that stuff. So, first things first, when it comes to returning to work here, things have been quite slow when it comes to that. I have been instructed to see a doctor about 2 weeks after that I have been home. It can actually range from 2 to about 6 weeks to a month. So, I've been sort of waiting to, try to get a local doctor here because they want me to go back to the hospital, and that's just not going to work. The hospital that I had surgery at is like 3 hours away, and that's just a no bueno. That's just not going to work. I don't even have a reliable car that would make it that far. So that's just not going to work. So what is happening is I've been trying to get a hold of my local doctor here, my family doctor, and see if he could find a local guy that would be able to look at my surgery here, or to be able to, find somebody that can find a referral or something like that. So, but unfortunately, when it comes to that, my doctor, unknown to me, is going to be out all this week due to a winter conference or something like that. Don't exactly know what's going on with that, but it's just been a long waited, just, waiting to, you know, be cleared to return back to work here. I don't think I'm going to have any problem with returning back to work. I am feeling just fine now. My incisions that happened from my surgery are pretty much healed all the way. I still have a little bit to go when it comes to healing, but it's looking pretty good, so don't think I'm going to have too many issues with returning back to work here. Here in next week or something like that. Hopefully, of course, paychecks are starting to run dry, so I got to get back to work. Thankfully, USA Truck has been working with me a lot on this. They have given me 30 days here to return back to work without having to redo orientation and all that mess again. If I can get in with 30 days, which I shouldn't have an issue with that, it should be easy going. I should probably, be able to get a rental car, and then they'll probably assign me to a truck from there. So, moving on to what happened during my surgery. So, I believe I had surgery on January the 11th or 13th. This was Tuesday or Wednesday. I went into the ER on Monday. This was unfortunate, of course. I was on the road. I just actually got back on the road Monday. During the weekend, this was very weird. This was like all of a sudden type thing. I was feeling just fine during the weekend. Nothing wrong, no pain whatsoever. Everything was going good. But I was picking up, I believe this was Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I believe that may be it. I don't have my loads anymore, and parts of that is a blur right now. It's just, that was a long week. So, when it comes to that, um, you know, I started feeling really bad on Monday. I just had all sorts of pain, and this was just all of a sudden. I ate something. I was actually waiting to be loaded. I was headed to Winton, North Carolina, and I was at the shipper being loaded, live load. This was very unfortunate. This took a very long time to, get moving here, and so what ultimately ended up happening was I left the shipper. This was the most excruciating, kind of stupid drive that I've ever done in my life. I was in very bad state, a lot of pain, not very good for me to be driving at this time, but I didn't really have a choice, didn't really have any that where I could park. There was kind of a speedway, but it didn't have really truck parking. You can get a truck in there very easily. They do have like diesel fuel and stuff like that, but no truck parking, unfortunately. So what ultimately I did decide to do was I went to a rest area that was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes away, something like that, and I made it down to the rest area. I was out of hours at that point, so I tried to rest at first. I thought, maybe this is just a common stomach ache, but I couldn't sleep. The pain was just too severe that, you know, it sort of felt that, I had to use the bathroom, but just nothing was happening. So this is where, one of the moments that you just have to make a decision on, if you're going to tough it out in the truck or are you going to go to the yard? Um, you know, and sometimes this can be a very hard decision. To leave a truck behind, leave a load behind, it's not ideal situation. It could put, the truck and the load at risk. To leave it, you know, thank God USA Truck was able to get out there and get a tow for that truck with no incidents that I'm aware of, anyways. Um, but, this is just one of the situations where, if I would have toughed it out inside the truck, I probably would have died. This would be in a life threatening situation. My colon or intestines could have, quite possibly have died, and I probably wouldn't be living longer than a week. I wouldn't never survive. Um, so this was the most important that I got to ER when I did. This was just one of those things. And what happened with the surgery was there is a lot of confusing things about this. I got told that my colon or intestines got wrapped around each other. Or what my paperwork says, anyways, is I had a large bowel obstruction that was causing pain too, for what my understanding was, anyways. And so they had to go in there and, make a decision. They actually made two decisions. One was pretty much from my belly button all the way to my groin, pretty much. And one was on the side of my belly, which was a lot smaller. Um, Honestly, in my opinion, it felt like they did three incisions. One in the middle and one on both sides because on my left, it felt like I had a incision there for a week, and then I felt around and figured out there was no incision there. It always felt wrapped on my left. Thankfully, that has sort of gone away, but I'm still getting stomach aches and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, that has not gone away, but it is getting better. So yeah, when it comes to the surgery, they did a incision. They went in and fixed everything. I was fortunate enough that during the surgery, you know, there was a possibility that if they had to remove too much, or if the intestines were, a lost cause, that I would have to have a bag for pretty much the rest of my life. That would, you know, pretty much, it would, be a bypass to my intestines and where all my waste and stuff like that would go. I don't think I was told that, it would never impact my ability to be able to drive a truck, but it would definitely be interesting trying to live with that. Fortunately, I do not have that. And even then, I was told that this situation is very rare for my age and for my gender as well. Usually, this happens to males that are in their like 50s, 60s, something like that, which honestly, if this was going to happen, it's probably best that it did at my age because, of course, I'm healthy. I would be able to survive. The surgery beats, somebody, you know, the elderly that are, 50, 60 years old. And this is more common in females. This typically can happen, when they're in pregnancy or something like that. Um, you know, it's very rare for a male to have this, especially at my age. So I wouldn't be surprised if this goes into a little bit of a research study on me. I'm pretty sure I'm probably not the only one. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it hasn't happened before. But this was definitely a very interesting experience at the hospital. I was at a university hospital, so I was pretty much taken care of. Didn't really have very many issues. There was one night where, it almost seems like, the pharmacy or my doctors decided they wanted to take a vacation or something like that, or wanted to go home for the night, and my medicine was not adjusted properly one night. And thankfully the next morning they got that taken care of. After surgery, um, when I woke up, I was in just excruciating pain. It was the most pain that I think I've ever felt. It was probably worser before, you know, after I got the surgery than before. It was just really, really bad. And so what ultimately ended up happening was, I was pretty much moaning in pain. I couldn't take it. And this is something that I really didn't like what they did was they didn't address it properly. They didn't address it immediately, I should say. They immediately once I woke up, they took me down to my room. Of course, I'm technically stable, but I'm not at the same time. Every bump is like death, pretty much. It's just so bad. And so I went to the room, and after that, they gave me some medicine, and they just kept on upgrading. Like I said, I did go one day or one night, where my medicine wasn't properly adjusted, but they put me on a pain pump to where pretty much it was designed to where, you know, if I was ever needing medicine, instead of calling a nurse, I could press a button, and this button would deactivate for about 20 seconds, and it was such a small of a dose that I would never overdose myself. It was designed that I would not do that, which was kind of interesting. I've never seen one of those before. Um, and so that was helping a lot. And I was using that for about a day and a half or something like that. Nurses most of the time were very good at taking care of me. Of course, this is a university hospital. Typically at university hospitals, nurses, doctors, any, emergency staff there, they have to be at the top of the game. They have to be one of the best of the best because, of course, it is a learning hospital. So, um, but moving on to, another negative that I really did not like is I ended up getting partnered with a roommate. I, they had a room design where you could put two beds, two people inside of it. Um, and I did not like that. My roommates were a dick. They had family members that were hanging out, watching TV all times of the night, could not sleep. People walking in and out. It was just driving me nuts. It was ridiculous. Um, and another thing that I didn't like is we of course had curtains for privacy, but the curtains were garbage. It was like a two-piece curtain that would go around, and unfortunately, the curtain, this room was so small that, all the nurses and doctors and everybody would bump into the curtain that was on the left of me that was, dividing me and the other guy next to me. And it would end up with the big gap. Um, I am one of the people that are very strict on privacy. I'm in a hospital. I don't, exactly, and not want to, meet a complete stranger, talk to, complete strangers, stuff like. Besides nurse and hospital staff and stuff like that, but, or family. But the problem is with the big gap is if I would be asleep, this room sometimes would get really, really hot at the point to where, I'm throwing the blankets off and stuff like that. The problem is, I don't have any pants on. I don't have underwear on. It's just, a hospital gown. So, with that big gap in mind, if I end up rolling over and not realizing it, you know, I don't want somebody to see me naked, so that's a problem. So I was always asking, "Hey, close the curtain," so I can have that privacy. So and honestly, at the end of the day, it really didn't matter because I wasn't getting to sleep anyways with the damn TV on all the time. But you know, it is what it is. That is long gone and over. I'm hoping I never had to go through that ever again. It will hopefully probably never happen again. The surgery was supposed to prevent this from happening ever again, so hopefully things are good to go when it comes to this. Hopefully I don't have any more issues, but I think that is going to be it for us today, guys. I don't have anything else to go over. Just very interesting experience to say the least. But, I think I'm going to be wrapping things up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.